Double the mini, double the fun. Welcome to Simple Run. In this episode we're going to be going through doing a hopefully quick comparison of the 011 Dynamic versus the 011 Air Mini. Sorry, the Dynamic Mini. As you can tell, they're both rather small. Now, before I ordered them, I thought they were pretty much the same size with a couple changes on the inside, but that's actually not true, and we'll get into that more as we go. Now, don't forget to subscribe for more content, as I do plan on doing a lot of videos, and I ordered another graphics card, so that means I can do more builds for you guys as well. So with that, let's get into our comparison. So the first thing you're going to notice are the differences in the front panels, right? So that's the biggest difference adding the 011 Air Mini compared to the Dynamic Mini. And that is you can put two 140 fans on the front with your airflow, as in the Dynamic Mini has a tempered glass front panel. Now, some other differences you're going to see are that this one is acrylic, and the acrylic's kind of painted on the back black to kind of give it a little more depth and some sheen, whereas this is more of aluminum finish, right? So this finish matches the top finish on this. Now they're very nice cases, very nice cases. In fact, probably two of the nicest cases I've ever had my hands on. Now, when it comes down to your front I/O, you got the same on both. You got power button, your headphone jack, USB-C, and two USB 3s. Now, one thing you're going to notice differently between these two are your perforation sizes. Now, as you can see on the top there, you've got rather large holes for this. The Air Mini has small holes. Now, you're going to see that on the front panel and the back, as well as over here, you've got the larger holes on the back. So the whole differences do have other consequences, we can say. So the 011 Dynamic Mini actually has filters on all of these, right? So you have your large holes, and then you have magnetic filters on the side to cover those, and then a filter on the top and a filter on the bottom. Now, both these cases do have the bottom filter because they do have large holes on the bottom for bringing your air up. However, the Air Mini with the smaller holes actually doesn't require filter, which is nice. That should improve airflow. Now, this one you can remove the filters and have better airflow with the risk of more dust. So if you're not in an area that's dusty, that might not be an issue, but in an area that has a lot of dust or you have pets in the house, you're going to want to keep those filters on. Whereas this one, you can't remove the filters. You can add filters. I'd recommend against that, but you don't really need them. So that is a big bonus. If we switch around to the back, you've got quite a bit of similarities here. So as you can tell, I've already got the Air Mini drop down by one notch, whereas this is at the top. However, on the Dynamic Mini, you can actually go down to where you only have 3 expansion slots, whereas Air Mini you have either 7 or you have 5. Now, when you put this one down into the 3 mode, that is dedicated to mini ITX and really allowing a lot of room up above. So if you wanted to do your 360 AIO up above, you would in theory be able to fit 120 fans as a push and pull in that last configuration. Granted, Lian Li's specs are what they guarantee will fit. That doesn't mean that's your only options if you get creative and you look into it. But what they say fits is what will fit. So anything outside of that is really up to you. And it's not on Lian Li if you buy something that doesn't fit, because they do a great job of painting a picture of what can fit where. I'm going to take these top panels off and these side glasses off, and we're going to take a look at the inside of this case. So as you can see, I also removed the back panels on both of them too, just to keep this going. Now once again, your biggest difference are your two front fans on here. Now with that being said, the Dynamic Mini still has pretty great airflow and a lot of options for a lot of fans. It's also ideal for liquid cooling, I think, as opposed to the Air Mini. They both excel at kind of whatever you want to do though, just because of the amount of room and the amount of fans you can put in each one. So now that we got them open, you can kind of see a couple other differences, one of which are these guys for your cables. Now this one has a 45-degree bend in the sheet metal, which has these come out these angle. Now with this one, when you go to your full ATX, you also have a metal adapter that goes on here that then makes your cable routing, well, a little more difficult. Whereas this one has already got that space and you've got the ability to route those cables anyways. So this one, your cables can come straight out and around, whereas this one wants to go at an angle. Now if you're doing micro or mini ITX, none of that's really going to be an issue because the motherboard's not going to be that big. Now when you step up to the ATX in these cases, that might be an issue. So let's go over radiator support. Now from Lian Li's website, the Dynamic Mini can support a 360 radiator on the top and a 360 on the bottom. Depending on motherboard size, you can do 280s or 240s. Your 280, of course, being thicker, so if you have an ATX or if you've got this in a lower position and you've got the micro ATX, you then get into the issue of not being able to fit the 140 width. Now, the Air Mini fits a 280 on top, a 280 on bottom. You can fit a 280 in the front and a 240 on the side. Now, of course, right now I've got the brackets on because they do have extra brackets for solid states or hard drives if that is your goal with this case. So with that being said, if you're going pure liquid cooling, the Dynamic Mini does support the 360s. And when you get into that mini ITX, it actually supports some rather thick radiators while still allowing all of your fans. Now, with this one, you're still getting the 280s, which is still a lot of radiator support. So if you've got two 280s with 6 140 fans, you're probably still going to be good. Even if you're going something crazy in there, you should still be able to keep everything cool. Now, of course, then it's up to whether you want the front fans or you want the front viewing angle. And that's really going to be up to, each individual person. Personally, I like the look of that Dynamic, but to be able to do full air in the Air Mini is pretty cool. I mean, especially since both of them will fit the NHD 15, which is a lot of air cooling. And both of them will fit a lot of fans. So with this one, you can still do 3 120 fans on the top and the bottom. You're just not going to fit that with the radiator without, getting creative. And my concern is that getting creative might not allow that. I know when I went through the review on this one, I said that you could, and it's going to vary from radiator. And that is because what I didn't know before was that the Air Mini is actually a little bit shorter in length to the Dynamic. So that little bit shorter could be the difference of your radiator fitting and not fitting. But the main thing with these fans, you're not going to fit a 360. Not without, a lot of cutting, and then you're beyond your, general and simple modding. Now let's move this around a little bit to get another good viewing angle so we can go over the back and the last bit of options I want to review in this video. Now, the Dynamic Mini only supports SFX power supplies. So outside of the one Silverstone 1000 watt, you're pretty much limited to 650, 750, and 850 power supplies. However, an 850 should still get you by with, a 5900X and a 3090. I've seen a lot of people do that, and I've seen them do it on a 750, but I would not personally recommend that. Whereas when you switch over to the Air Mini, you now have support for your full-size ATX power supply. Now that's a big difference. That opens up pretty much anything. Now granted, you still have, you know, to where you're gonna start getting into issues with your cable routing and stuff like that. But you've got a lot of room for the power supply, to whereas, you know, here you've got it up above and you got this. So both of them have the hot swappable hard drive cages, which is something I just love about these cases. It is, when you're doing video editing and you start to rack up your hard drives with, you know, the content that you're saving, it's nice to be able to just swap them out, load them up, and have them kind of there, but not, you know, permanently there. And it's super easy. You remove this, you pop it out, you unhook it, you hook the new one in, you pop it back in, and you're good to go. That is much faster than going in, popping off the side of the case, unscrewing your hard drive, and going through any of that. Now I know I've probably missed some things because there is so many options to these cases, and at this point in time they really are my favorite cases on the market just because of all the options. And I've seen some really awesome builds in it, and I in fact have the Snow White 011 Mini that I will be building in probably early next year. So don't forget to subscribe, you know, comment down below what you think. With that being said, feel free to ask questions or anything like that. You know, I've got no problem doing a little extra research to help you guys out with your questions. I'm going to end this video at that, and thank you.